Good day all. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, America's #1 dispatcher and freight broker training. Today is Wednesday, the 11th of February, 2026. It is our Wednesday edition of our Dispatcher 101 training for beginners. Today I'm going to do a review. I'm going to go back a little bit for those of you who are just coming in, asking basic level questions about just getting started in dispatching. What are your next steps? How do I do this? How do I do that? So on and so forth. So I know there's some people here who um, may need that type of questioning. So I'm going to use a little bit of technology, a little bit of AI technology. One of the more popular AI technologies, Chat GPT. You probably have heard of it. So if someone were to come in and don't know anything about running a company, starting a business, and you've chosen um, logistics, or you've chosen to be an independent dispatch service, right? You haven't had any formal training yet. You just came in with the idea, right? That, hey, I want to be a dispatcher. I heard that we can make good money doing this, showing helping truck drivers keep their trucks and trailers loaded with freight. I get paid to do that, right? As an independent dispatch service. I heard that's uh how it was done, right? I heard that's how it's done, right? So you ask the pretty upfront questions. Well, what's the first thing I need to do to get started, right? Well, outside of formal, if you have no training, outside of formal training, what are some things I need to do to get started as an independent dispatch service? Well, one thing you need to do is come up with a company, right? A name of your company, a structure, how it to be structured. So, how to start a business, right? So, someone tell me where they're located. I think Renee, you're on here, right? I think you're on the Samsung. Um, you're on the Samsung device. I'm gonna change your name to Renee. Okay, where are you located? What state are you located? It's kind of, or are you even in this country? Are you in this country, or are you're in Oregon? Okay, so you're in the state of Oregon. So you say, okay, I want to be a dispatch service. I heard it was an easy entry point to being independent, to work for myself, not work a 9 to 5, um, not be concerned about a boss. I want to control my own destiny. I want to control my own space, right? I don't want to be told what to do. I've chosen this industry, transportation, logistics, and of the transportation and logistics space industry, I've chosen to start a dispatch service. I'm in the state of Oregon. What are my next steps? Okay, pretty straightforward question. Simple question to ask, simple question to answer, right? So if you are that person, whether you're in Oregon or whatever state you're in, and you have not yet started your business, one of the first things you want to do is think about the name of your company. Think about starting the business. Okay, so let's go to Chat GPT. Let's leverage, right? Let's leverage technology, specifically AI technology, to assist us in answering the question, right? And a popular AI technology out here now is Chat GPT. How many of you have heard of Chat GPT, the AI, artificial intelligence technology? I'm pretty sure all of you have heard of Chat GPT. And there's some other ones too, Open AI, Cloud. There's a few others, but the popular one, Chat GPT, right? Just like you've heard of Facebook, TikTok, or X, Instagram, YouTube, right? These are social media handles or social media outlets. Well, Chat GPT is an AI technology that can answer questions, provide data in seconds, right? in seconds. Just like Google is taking the place of Google. Google is a form of AI. You just may not know that or not, right? Because you go to Google and type something in, you'll get an answer. It's a search engine, right? Search engine optimization. But at any rate, I don't want to get too far off topic. So you come in, you say, okay, I know nothing, right? I want to start a company. I'm competent enough to start a business. I just need to know how. What are my next steps, right? So the first thing you want to do is with AI technology, the more specific you ask the question to the technology, the more specific the answer you'll get. The broader your question, the broader your answer. Okay, you guys follow that? So you have to be very specific in what you're asking to get closer to the answer that you're looking for. Okay. So, so our question was something to the effect of, and I'm going to use Oregon as the state, but, and I don't know what city in Oregon. Are you like Portland? Are you like Salem? What city specifically are you in, Renee, in Oregon? Um, Portland. Okay, very good. So, um, what are, well, before I do that, let's say, because you have not only how to start a business, but what type of legal structures to form a business. So, what are the best legal forms, formation, structures to start a business under? And please describe each. Okay. So now it's going to break down the type, not only the business, but the type of business, the most common legal structures, because don't just start a business. You want to make sure you structure it the correct way. Okay. So before you even start the business, before you look at the entities that you need to start the business, you want to have an idea of the type or the structure of business you want to start. Okay. So even at the very, we're talking about the very foundation now, because most people do LLCs, right? But we want to understand why they do LLCs as opposed to a sole proprietor. And what is a sole proprietor? Or what is an S Corp? Or what is a C Corp, right? What are those differences and why did I choose what I chose, right? Hey, LaDonna. So here's a clear breakdown of the legal business structures in the United States and what they're good for. So number one, sole proprietor. And after we go through these, you want to ask yourself, well, which one did I choose the right one? Number one. And if not, then maybe I should choose another. Hey, Mr. Ellis.
Hey, hey.
So number one is sole proprietor, sole proprietorship. What is that? It's you plus the business are legally the same person. So you're using essentially your social security number as your security instrument for the business. You're putting your social security number up against risk for the business, essentially. But what's it best for? It's low risk, side hustles, freelancers, and consultants just getting started. Now, as I read these, you tell me, does that sound like you in the structure, right? So, number one is sole proprietor. The pros of sole proprietor is easy and cheap to start. Okay, we like the sound of that. There's no separate business tax return, and there's simple bookkeeping. Okay, so far so good. Now, the pros are good, but you in every legal structure, when you start a business, you always want to look at the cons, not the pros, but the disadvantages, right? To see if you're willing to risk that when you form that type of business under that legal structure or under that type of structure. So the cons of a pro or sole proprietorship No liability protection, okay? As a sole proprietor, no liability protection. So if you're liable for something, they're coming after not only the business, they're coming after your personal assets too, right? And as it says it here, your house, car, savings are all at risk. See that there? It's harder to get funded with a sole proprietorship if you are about that as well. If you're trying to form a business just to get funding or also to get funding, not only to get funding, but in addition to, if you want to form the business but also get funding to grow your business, it's harder to do it under a sole proprietorship type of structure. Okay. Uh, Less credibility for larger contracts. Okay. And then taxes. Profits are reported on your personal tax income. That's the Schedule C. And let me do a disclaimer. I'm not a tax person, although I play one on TV, right? But I'm not a tax person. I do have an accountant that you can reference on our website under services, affiliates, and partners. You can reference Eric Atkins. As a matter of fact, let me click over there real quick. Services, affiliates, and partners. And where it says CPA accountant, you click that and it goes down to Eric Atkins and Associates. He is my personal accountant and he will answer any question. Okay. And I put his information in the chat. Okay. So, an example. Here's an example of sole proprietor. A new dispatcher, look at this, a new dispatcher working from home under their own name. So, Charles Mundy's Dispatch Services. That's what I name my company under my own name. I don't name it something outside of my name. That's a new dispatcher working from home under. Now you guys are new. You will be new dispatch services working from home. The question becomes, will it be under your own name or will it be under a name that you give for your company? If you decide to do a sole proprietorship structure, then you have the option to keep it under your name. Question is, who does that? Right? So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to skip because most of you guys don't have business partners. You're mainly doing this by yourself. Am I right? I'm going to skip number two. Okay. Because most of you don't have business partners when you're forming your company. If someone does have a partner, type a one in the chat and we can go over this. But for the most part, you guys are doing this starting off by yourselves. Okay. So we'll go down to number three. Number three is the popular one. Most people, I can almost guarantee most people in here have formed their business as a legal structure LLC. Number three, limited liability company. Type a one in the chat if you already have your business structure created and it's created as an LLC. Who in here is an LLC? Yep, me.
We are.
Okay, everybody is. I'm an LLC, but I'm taxed as an S corp, so I can say 3 comma 4. So okay, so LLC. So let's understand why, because most people form their LLCs because they heard that it was the popular one to form, not necessarily understanding why, right? And I'm not saying that you guys did that. I'm just saying that some people may have done that, right? They'll say, man, LLC, let's just form an LLC. It's easy, right? So what is it? It's a flexible structure that separates you from the business legally. So your personal and your business. You have personal assets and liabilities. You have business assets and liabilities under the limited liability company. Okay, something to consider. It's best for small to medium sized business. That's us. What are the pros? It protects your personal liability, right? Your personal liability is over here. and your business, they're separate. Okay, that's why it's called limited liability, because only the liability is only limited to your company assets. Okay, flexible tax options, simple compared to corporations, and professional credibility. What are the cons? Filing fees, okay, annual state fees, and it varies by state, right? And then taxes. Now, these stuff you can go through your tax person to get specific understandings of this, but pass through taxation, and but you can elect, which is what I did, but you can elect to be taxed as an S corp, which is what I did. An S corp is I'm structured as an LLC, but I'm taxed as an S corp. I hired myself and my wife as employees, and we write off the salaries that we pay ourselves. They're tax deductible. So we lower our taxable income. So these are things when you form a business, you want to put those thoughts in your mind, right? Um, so right here, but you can be elected as an S corp. This can reduce self-employment tax once profits grow. So yes, so LLCs and limited liability company, you will take on what's called the SE tax, the self-employment tax. That's an extra 15.3% on top of whatever tax bracket you fall in for tax purposes as an LLC. When you elect to structure your company from an LLC to an S corp, the SE tax goes away. So you don't pay the self-employment tax, but you still have a tax bracket you fall in because of your AGI, right? Your adjusted gross income, what you grossed for the year, for the tax year. Okay. And it varies because different people make different amounts of money. So if you fall within a certain range gross, then you fall within a certain percentage tax bracket. That's just how the tax code is structured, right? And you can get with a tax person to get that explained a little bit more thoroughly, right? So, example, most trucking companies, so for those of you who in here who have a trucking company, I think Miss Sylvia has one. Most trucking companies, dispatch companies, freight brokers, and training centers operate as LLCs. What they just talked about all of us, right? And then for many entrepreneurs, LLCs is the sweet spot. Yes, it's the popular structure to create a business under an LLC. It's the easiest one to do. Okay. So you will want to ask yourself which one do you want to get involved with. Now I'm not going to talk about the S corp is when you as you grow and make profits, you can transition or pivot from LLC to S corp. C corps are more like you're giving out shares and stuff like that. Issuing stock. That's not us. Number five. And then number six, nonprofits. You may or may not want to do it as a nonprofit, but that's mostly for charitable, educational, religious purposes, social purposes. So I'm not going to get into that. So the main two or two, maybe three to consider is sole proprietor, LLC, and maybe S Corp, right? So those are the ones to think about. So if you're in here now listening and you're not at the point of deciding how to structure your company, those are the three legal structures to consider. I would not suggest sole proprietor because you're not protected. I would suggest LLC and then eventually S Corp. That's just my suggestion. Something to consider. Those of you who haven't created a business yet. Okay. And it says it right here for most business owners, especially in logistics, trucking, dispatching, training, consultings, LLC is the best starting structure. Okay. And then upgrade to LLC taxed as S Corp once profits grow. That's what we did. That's what the Exodus Logistics Learning Center did. We upgraded from LLC to S corps because profits were growing and we wanted to protect the profits by reducing our tax liability. If you reduce your tax liability, that means you keep more of the profits. You're taxed less and you keep your earnings more, right? So you're playing the game, so to speak, right? Um, so any questions there for those of you who haven't formed their business yet? Any questions about the understanding of the type of structure you want to form? Sole proprietor, LLC, or S corp? Renee, are you okay there? I want to make sure I make get Mr. Renee covered. Now, once you decide what structure you want, now you want to say, well, how do I form a business in my state? So, what, and we're going to use Portland, Oregon as an example. What are the steps to forming a business in Portland, Oregon, right? What are the steps? Step by step guide, and you can replace Portland, Oregon with your city and state, and it'll apply to you. And it's the software is just going to grab the data in seconds and present it to you, right? So you want to research and plan your business. Okay, okay. Now, writing a business plan, you don't have to do that up front. I tweak my business plan all the time. It's nothing etched in stone because it's an outline of your company. You're going to be adding to and taking away from your business as you grow and evolve. You're going to edit your business plan. Just like as you grow and evolve in life, you edit certain behaviors about yourself, certain characteristics about yourself. That's your life's business plan. Same thing holds true with your company business plan. You will edit and update things as they occur and as you see fit to change. That is a business plan. Okay. So you want to research and plan your business. We're all doing that. We've researched a dispatch company, right? We saw that it was an easy entry point to come into. We saw, okay, well, only thing I have to do is get a truck driver to agree for me to find loads for them, and I get paid to do that. Okay. And there's not a lot of overhead to do that. Okay. Let me give this dispatch service business a shot, right? I don't have a problem with talking to truck drivers, says me, the future dispatch service. I shouldn't have a problem talking to truck drivers, convincing them that I am able to find loads for them. Now, this is in your mind, but you gotta come into the reality of, okay, you gotta understand how to use load boards, you gotta understand how to talk to brokers, you gotta understand how to set up your back office infrastructure, your documents, your contracts, right? You got to understand how to navigate the country as far as where to send. Well, first of all, you got to understand the type of truck drivers, owner operators, carriers you're going to be dispatching for. You got to do the research and say which ones are profitable in what regions of the country, and how do I find loads for them and keep them consistently running. That's where industry research and marketing comes in at, right? Understand your competition, customer base, pricing, and regulations, everything I just said. Now, you may not have much competition because a lot of other dispatchers are not doing it as correctly as we try to train them to do, right? But your customer base, who is your customer? Your customer is the truck driver. You are a dispatch service. Your customer is the person you're contracting with, trying to find loads for them and keep their trucks and their wheels rolling. So that's the truck driver. So you have to understand the customer base, understanding pricing. Meaning the rate per mile, how much loads are paying at a certain point in time in a certain season, going a certain direction in a certain lane, right? And we cover this over time. I'm just talking high level right now, right? And the regulations. Well, for dispatch services, there are not a lot of regulations for the dispatch service, but for the truck driver, you want to understand. So understanding your customer base is understanding the regulations involving to keeping your customer, right? Like compliance. They have your customers, the truck drivers, the owner operators, they have what's called an operating authority, right? And by the FMCSA, the governing body the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. They govern and gives the authorities to your customer base, right? We'll keep that same theme, customer base, instead of saying truck driver, right? Or owner, operator, or carrier. They're your customer base, customers. So you got to understand that and keep them within regulations to keep them active and to keep their authority going so that they can make money and you can make money indirectly because you're finding loads for them, right? So this is the mentality you want to have if you have decided to come into this industry. Okay? That's the mentality that you have, right? You are a business person, right? So you have to have a business mentality. Gone are the days of being an employee and working for somebody and exchanging time for money. Now you have to grind and hustle and understand your company, your business. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just going to take work. It's easy to go to a job and do work and exchange your time for money because the company is the one who pays you. So they have all the worry and all the risk and things like that. You just give your labor and you get exchange for that money, income, right? But now when you form a business, now you are in the role of what your boss used to be for the company you used to have the 9 to 5 for. You guys understand that? You're in the same role as them. So now the pressures and the stresses and the risks are on you to do what you need to do, perform, right? So the business plan, before I go there, any questions? I want to make sure I want to keep everybody. We're good. How to start a business in, we say in Portland, Oregon, in this example, but in California, Los Angeles, or in Charlotte, North Carolina, or in Dayton, Ohio, or in Detroit, Michigan, or wherever you are, you leverage the technology to get the data that you need and just plug your information into the data and then begin to act, right? So business plan, that's not going to be an overnight thing. The business plan is going to change and update as your business operates. It's never going to be done. If, for example, like I've been doing this since 2019, 7 years. My business plan is not done because I'm always taking away from something. As you evolve as a company, you update your business plan, you update your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, you update your processes, your workflows. Again, just like in life, when you go on a health span, you lose weight, you update your body, things like that, right? So it's all relative, okay? So you want to research and plan your business. Number two, choose a legal structure. We just talked about that, right? Sole proprietor, LLC, S corp, C corp, what have you, right? We talked about that. Decide what business entity you will form. Sole proprietorship, LLC, and pick an available name. Now, here is the challenge. Naming your company. Most people think that's a simple thing. Well, I'll just come up with Charles's Dispatch Service. Okay, I often advise and or suggest to name a company thinking about the future, right? You're starting off as a dispatch service. So if you have the mentality that you're going to stay a dispatch service, then I would say, okay, you can keep the name dispatch in your company name, Charles's Dispatch Service. But if at some point in the future, maybe a year or two or later, you decide to scale or pivot into something different outside of dispatching, let's say you want to start a trucking company or you want to start a freight brokerage, then your beginning name should be a name that reflects all of those other types of businesses you want to start. So, for example, you start off as a dispatcher, you say, okay, I think I want to start a hot shop business or a small trucking company. So I'm going to create another company. And then, oh, I want to be a freight broker too. So I often suggest to people, if you name your company, name it something like vague or universal. I use the word logistics, right? Because so Charles's Logistics, Inc. or charge logistical services, right? Because logistic services, dispatching can be under the umbrella name logistical services or logistics. A trucking company can be under the name logistics services or logistics. A freight brokerage can be under the name logistics, right? Under the same name. You can do it as an alias or what we call a DBA right here, assumed business name, doing business as. And if you have one name, you can have many DBAs under that one name or that one entity. Okay. Now there is a danger with that because it's under one entity. So if something goes wrong, everything under that entity is affected. The brokerage, the dispatch service, the trucking company. So most people say, well, I'll say ABC Logistics, ABC Dispatch Services, ABC Freight Brokerage, right? Something like that. So you want to think about the naming of your companies futuristically down the line when you if you decide you want to pivot or scale to another area in your company. If you want to transition from dispatching to something else, let the name of your company reflect that. That's all I'm saying. Let the name of your company reflect that. Okay. Now you come up with the name, you got the business structure. Now you have to register it in your state. You have to let the state know that you want to be a business for tax purposes, not only for federal, because you get taxed federally and you get taxed on the state level, sometimes local and municipalities too. But so most formal entities must be registered with whatever state. In this case, we're using Oregon for the example. So, Renee, you will go to the Oregon Secretary of State Business Registry. And once you come up with a name and a legal structure, you will register with your state. And you can do it online, file online through the Oregon Business Registry. And anyone else can, most business formation processes now can be done online. You don't have to go to the local courthouse and do it. You can mostly do it online, right? Most states have graduated to advanced technology and allow people who want to register for a business to do so online. Okay. Submit your form and documents, your articles of organization for an LLC. That's how you get an LLC, or your articles of incorporation for a corporation, S corp or C corp. If you do an LLC, it's called an articles of organization. I can bring mine out and show it to you. As a matter of fact, I'm next to my filing cabinet right now, and let me grab so show it to you, just so you don't think I'm holding your chain. Here's the receipt. Here's the receipt of me paying for my LLC, my annual registration, $225. You see that? Just so I'm not blowing hot air to you guys, right? I'm literally telling you. Here's my W-9. So you want to form your business, W-9 with irs.gov, with you filed a W-9 and your tax ID number, EIN. It's called an EIN, Employee Identification Number. I am in the city of Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm putting everything up to show you that for Chesapeake, Virginia, I go to the commissioners of the revenues office and file and register the business, right? Commissioner of the revenue. So just so you'll see that it's done, right? And for the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, I have a certificate of occupancy because I got to show the capacity of the business, how many students I can have in the conference room, trainings and things like that. So that's that. So this is just proving to you how you're supposed to do it. I got some other stuff, registering the business, but what I wanted to show you is literally Commonwealth, Commonwealth of Virginia State Corporation Commission. right? Exodus Logistics Learning Center, right? You guys see that? Proof positive. I'll show you better than I can tell you, right? Show you better than I can tell you. Commonwealth of Virginia. There's the seal of the Commonwealth of Virginia State Corporation Commission. You will do that for your state. Okay? Follow the same instructions. And mine's was registered August 1st. If you see the date, August 1st, 2020, 6 years ago. See? So the one thing I won't do to you guys is lie to you, right? State Corporation Commission, Commonwealth of Virginia, Certificate of Fact. See that? Showing you, literally proving to you that you can do it, right? Create your business. The state seal, Commonwealth of Virginia. See that? Commonwealth of Virginia. The state. I don't have to show you this, but look. You see what I'm saying? Certificate of Fact. What date does that say? August 1st, 2020. There's the state seal of the Commonwealth of Virginia. See that? So it will be the same when you file yours for your state and you register your business for your state. Okay? Then you would have to get your federal ID, federal and state tax IDs. That's where you go to the IRS.gov website and you do the W-9. You fill out the W-9 to get an EIN number. That's free, by the way. I just showed you mine. Let me grab it again. I literally just showed it to you. W-9. IRS.gov website. Okay. So, Chasa.
Hi, Charles. Hi, LaDonna. Hi, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, I have a question. For someone, I'm not sure if you did yours on your own or you went to a service, but for someone who's not tech savvy, or just doesn't have the resources, do you suggest using LegalZoom?
Yes, you could use, so there's several. Let's go. That's a great question. Let's go to, because I have several recommended sources to do that to form a business. And I think under the portal, under business services, I believe, or business information, I think I list them. And I think LegalZoom is one of them. So right here, business license, and right here, links and these are all hyperlinks. So resources and links. So Google your local Secretary of State, Inc. file, LegalZoom #3, Zen Business, mycorporation.com, Inc. Authority, Rocket Lawyer, and then we have some free ones. Free LLC, free EIN, free DMB. So if you click any of these, they're hyperlinks to those websites. So for example, if I click LegalZoom, it's going to go to the LegalZoom website. See what just happened? So if I click Inc. file, it's going to go to the Inc. file. Now it's called Busy, but formerly Inc. file. If you see it up here, they changed their name, but you get the point, right? So Rocket Lawyer, same thing. You see? So yes, someone who's not tech savvy but have the resources that can afford to do it this way. And yes, you can go and now just be mindful of the service charges for that and be careful in deciding which one to choose. What I'm doing is giving you a base overview and understanding of what the process is. These companies do the same thing, they just charge you for it because it's their time and energy that they're utilizing to provide you a service of helping you create your company. Okay. But yes, you can do that, Chasa. Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And I didn't even know that was in the back office. I'm telling you, there's gyms in the back office.
There are you
I need to get
I
back in there more often.
I tell people to navigate the back office. There's so much stuff back here that I forgot. A lot of the stuff's back here. That's why I tell people, especially new students, come to this back office and just go driving. Go driving. Or LaDonna says, or use her. LaDonna helps people with business formation. So you have a resource there. You see? So helping you start your company won't be a problem. You just have to decide, whoever you are, if you're brand new, you have to decide the name of your company and what legal structure you want it to be, right? And most people choose out of popularity the LLC, right? Then you have to come up with the name, and then you have to register it in your state. Once you do the irs.gov, you just registered it. You just got a federal ID number, tax ID number. You did it federally. That's your tax ID. So the feds know, the government knows you're registered. Now the state needs to know so they can tax you too. You get taxed on the federal level as well as the state level, just like personal, right? When you work for a company, they taking out federal, state, Medicare, retirement, everything out of your checks. You made $800. By the time you get your check, it's 400. You see? So yeah. So you have to understand all those things and be able to do that. So
Charles, is there anything in the back office about next codes? I couldn't find it.
there is not, but I understand what a NAICS code is, a North American Industry Classification System code. They identifies the companies. You're thinking about now on the line of government contracting and stuff like that? Or you,
Yes.
okay, so are you trying to register your company with sam.gov as a dispatch service?
Yes.
Okay. Um, have you done that yet? Have you went to sam.gov? So here's in the back office. If you go to the back office, go to home. So the exit, not me, but the company, the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, we are registered with sam.gov. We have our capability statement. Are you familiar with the capability statement?
Yes.
It's like the resume for the government. It shows the government what you know, right? So here's the Exodus Logistics Learning Center's capability statement. You can use this as a template yourself. So what Sherwood is saying, the NAICS code, which is the North American Industry, here's our NAICS codes for the Exodus Logistics Learning Center. I'm gonna blow this up a little bit so you guys can see it. So now he's on another dimension. He's thinking government freight, right? Because he could either go through the military, like DLA. Are you familiar with DLA, Defense Logistics Agency?
No.
Okay, you might want to get yourself familiar with that. That's on the military side, but have you begun the process, or do you have um a cage code and a UEI? Here is the Exodus Logistics Learning Center's cage code, which is the commercial and government entity code. That's how you get paid, the cage code. And here is our UEI, unique entity identifier. It is like a DUNS number. The DUNS number was done away with when you come into the government space. It's replaced with the UEI, unique entity identifier. A DUNS number was unique to the companies too on the public sector, but now in the government sector, it's called a UEI, unique entity identifier. And here's I think it's 12, either 12 or 63, 6, 9, 12 alphanumeric numbers and letters, right? And it's unique to the Exodus Logistics Learning Center.
I meant to ask you about that last night because I was on a call with the DLA yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't even. I told myself I got to ask Charles about this because she asked me everything you just mentioned, everything.
Right. So is Freight Savers brokerage, is it registered with sam.gov?
No, not yet.
What you need to do immediately, if you got in contact, Mr. Ellis, I implore you, I beseech you, I abhor you to go here, sam.gov, because you got an inside plug. Rarely does somebody call you or get in contact with you from DLA. You have to almost pull teeth to get a hold of them. So, but
Yeah.
are you prior military?
Nope.
That's even better. So you
Nope.
would go to sam.gov, and those other people who are interested in. So we're talking about dispatching services, but now in a different sector. You can transition not only on the public side, but you can go on the government side to register your company to be seen as a supplier. So when you register with the government, you are the supplier. You're supplying either products or services. The government are the buyers. Remember that. You're the supplier, the government are the buyers. Now, this is a different level as far as dispatching. What we're talking about now is for beginner dispatcher. You want to just get your business created and go after truckers and go on load boards and book loads for them. But if you want to transition to the next level, you want to get into the government space where there's little competition, but there's a lot of red tape to get to that promised land, that proverbial promised land. Once you go through all the red tape of the government process, then it opens up. You have to be able to understand how to solicit and bid on the types of solicitations that the government presents for those suppliers. You're a supplier, right? Because they're the buyer. They're either IFBs, RFPs, RFQs, RFIs. What are those? RF requests for bids, requests for proposals, requests for informations, QQs, which are quick quotes. Don't ask me how I know about all this. I've been up nights studying this stuff, right? So these are different levels of solicitations for suppliers that the government they buy truckloads of toilet paper. If you could supply truckloads of toilet paper to the government military installations, the naval bases, you can win a contract for a year or two supplying truckloads of toiletries for the government, and they'll pay you for this. You see what I'm saying? So different things. So this is what I'm talking about. But Mr. Ellis, I suggest you register Freight Savers LLC with sam.gov. That's your starting process. Registered with sam.gov. Sam.gov is the initial website. Go here and then click Get Started. Right here, register your entity or get a unique entity identifier to get started doing business with the federal government. You can either get started as a new one or renew your old entity if it's about to expire. But you just click Get Started and go from there. Any questions, give me a call. Okay? So, but that's the government side. But for Sherwood's question, I think, Sherwood, you're already registered with the government, correct?
No, not yet.
Okay, well, same thing. You need to do the same thing. You need to go here and to get started. You have to, but before you register with the government to be a supplier for the government, you have to have a business created already. You have to be at what we're discussing right now. Starting a business, get the LLC EIN, register your company, and then the next point, a registered agent. You could be your own registered agent, right? To receive legal So a registered agent, they just receive legal notices, right? Who can receive legal notices and official mail. That's you or your spouse or your partners or whatever, right? And then you got to open up a business bank account. Right here, I want to skip down to the other things because some of it, like number 7, we don't require licenses and permits. Number 6, check your local state. When you do it for the state, it'll cover your local stuff too. Open a business bank account. Before you are able to open a business bank account, you have to establish a business. They are going to want to see business documents proving that you are a company, namely your business license registration, your W-9 that shows your articles of corporation, things that says, and with the stamped seal of your state or your commonwealth, proving that you are the person you say you, and your identification, identifying you as the person who holds the ownership of the business before they open up a business bank account. So once registered and with your EIN, open a business account. So you have to register it and then go with your EIN. Okay, this helps you separate personal and business finances and simplifies bookkeeping. Okay. So, Renee, is this helpful for you? I want to make sure that you were good starting a business, because this is ground zero right here. Before you even start learning how to dispatch in terms and stuff like that, you have to establish your company, your name, register the business, your LLC, EIN, things like that. Yes, Jacqueline.
On opening the bank account, do you recommend like a credit union, or do you recommend, like, I know I'm thinking, don't use the same bank that like me, I'm with Truist, which was BB&T.
And SunTrust.
Do you
And SunTrust. Yeah, SunTrust and BB&T merged to come Truist.
Okay. So do you recommend me, and then I have Navy Federal as well. Do you recommend that I get a bank for my business outside of those two? Or do you recommend that I get the business bank account within one of those two? If that makes sense.
It makes sense. I have Navy Federal and I have my business and my personal within
Okay.
Navy Federal. It just
Okay.
makes it for easy accounting and bookkeeping purposes. And it's one entity, right?
Okay.
It's not like, and I highly recommend, me personally, I have my reasons, mainly because of the different savings and the different features that they have, but I recommend credit unions over banks as far as business and personal. Okay. So, but yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Thank
okay.
you.
And here's a checklist for Portland, Oregon. You can have a checklist for your state. Decide the legal structure, LLC, EIN, and business name. Those are important. Register with the state through the registry, that state's registry, or whatever state you're in. Obtain your EIN and tax ID. They're the same thing, irs.gov. Designate registered agent. Yourself can be registered. Why would you? It's your business. Trust yourself to be your own registered agent. All they're doing is receiving the legal documentation in any mail, right? Generally, that's basically it. Check Portland business license and tax requirements. Check the tax requirements in your state from which you're going to be the domicile resident of, and you're going to open up a business in, right? Secure all necessary local, state license permits. This doesn't apply with dispatch services because there's no licenses and permits involved in dispatching, right? You just create your company and contract with the truck driver. Okay. Open a business bank account. Decide if you're going to go with a bank or a credit union based off of the features that each of those offer in relation to your business. Create yourself a 5 to 10 itemized list of some of the things you look for in a financial institution that you would like to have for your business. That would make it easy for you to decide if a bank has that or if a credit union has that, right? It's not rocket science, guys. You have to decide, well, I'm opening a business. What do I look for in a financial institution to help me keep my business afloat and run my business and protect my business? Does the bank has it more so than the credit union, or does the credit union has it more so than the bank? And that'll help you decide which one to choose. Right? So, understand employee and tax obligations, or starting off as dispatch services, you're not taking on any employees, so there's no tax obligations there. So I don't want to say skip that, but you can, think about that. And let's see. It keeps kicking LaDonna out. I don't know why. And then file annual reports, right? So I would incorporate you to start a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet, some type of accounting software to keep track of your annual reports. I have my accountant do that for me. Eric, and I just basically pay him, right? I mean, I see what it is, but he's professional at doing that, and he's been doing that for me for 6 years, so we're good, right? So that is ground zero from any business perspective, let alone dispatch service, right? But and I showed you, I got up and personal with you with my stuff, right? Didn't have to do it, but I mean, I'm not hiding anything, so it doesn't bother me. But yeah, got receipts, right? Got receipts. So start your company. Let me put this back in the file before I forget, and because I gotta file a lot of stuff anyway in my office, my home office. Pardon me. Got my filing cabinet next to the desk here. There we go. Try to stay organized, right? So any questions up to this point? And Renee, is Renee still here? I want to make sure he's good. Renee, you good? Type of 1 or check or yes or whatever. Is this helping a little bit for you in the beginning? And I'll probably title this video Ground Zero, right? When you first come in and you want to start a company, right? You have the notion or the idea in your mind, hey, I want to start a business. Namely, since we're here, a dispatch service. This is a dispatch training, so I want to be an independent freight dispatcher. What should I do? Okay, here's your steps. Boom, 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 boom. You want to create the company, right? Come up with the name, decide what legal structure you want to form the business as. And I really need you guys who, if you're in the beginning stages, if you're at ground zero, I'm speaking to you specifically, that person who's at ground zero, you need to really think, because this foundation can have a lasting effect on you as you progress through your company, right? You don't want to create something and then have to circle back and update it, right? You want to try to get it right the first time, right? And what better people, not just myself, but others who've done it, to go off of than people who have current businesses and who are doing it and who are sharing it and telling it to you, right? How this is how it's done, right? And there's no ill will, no ill intent or nothing like that. I'm not gaining anything by telling you, right? I'm just saying this is how it should be done. And I've did all the bumps and bruises of running a business and made all the mistakes, and they're trying to put you onto the learning curve so that you can avoid those things, avoid those mistakes, avoid those headaches, save some money, right? Save that money. You're going to need it, right? So, yeah. Any questions there? So that's the first floor on ground zero. Now we take one step up the step. What's the next? In other words, what's the next step? Pardon the pun. What's the next step? Well, after you've formed your business, right, and you get all that in the back of your mind, now you decide, okay, well, I don't understand anything about what the industry I'm in is about. And in this case, it's freight dispatching, right? A dispatch service. So I either am going to get under someone who's doing it or get some type of formal training. Welcome to the Dispatch 101 training for beginners. You have decided to come into this training and I try to be as detailed, maybe to a fault, as possible, right? As detailed as possible to explain things to you in a way that you, number one, understand it thoroughly, and number two, you cannot be taken advantage of, because you got people out here, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, unfortunately, who have ill wills and ill intentions about doing things the wrong way. And that boils me. And I teach in a way to make sure that my students, you guys, well, family, not students, but family, understand that it's not done that way. It's done this way. And let me show you why it's done this way. And let me give you an example of why it's done this way. So now it brings home the point. And let me tell you why it's not done that way and the end result if it's done that way. You see what I'm saying? So I want to differentiate. So now you have the intellectual fortitude to make the decision now with the data which way to go. You see what I'm saying? So that's the type of instruction and teaching that I pride myself in to make sure that you guys have an understanding. So, does everybody understand that? Everybody follow that? We good on that, right? Because I love what I do. I love what I do by helping people gain knowledge of the business that they decided to invest their hard-earned money in and the training that they've decided to invest their hard-earned money in to trust me and my wife, because she helps too, to help you, right? So, any questions? So we got the foundation, we poured the concrete, we smoothed it out, it's drying, we got the foundation. We took the first step up the steps to the front door. The first step was understanding we need either some formal training or get us under someone who's dispatching. The next step is, well, we got to decide, okay, if we do get a carrier, we need our documentation. If I'm a truck driver and I say, hey, yeah, I need your dispatch services, well, what do I give you? What is my documentation? What's my contracts? I have to understand how to create those, where they're located, what are they, right? And what are their purposes, right? That's step two. And imagine we're doing all this in 90 days, right? A program that's 90 days long. Well, it extends beyond 90 days, but the foundation is established in 90 days. Okay. So step two is understanding that. Step three, and it's crazy. Step three, you're finally going after a carrier. Step one and two and all that stuff, you had to form the business, you had to understand the contracts and things like that. Now you're ready to get to the money, so to speak, right? You're ready to get a carrier and start dispatching. So now in that ready to get a carrier phase, you have to understand, well, how is that done? What are ways to do that? What types of truck drivers do I target, right? Where am I located relative to the type of truck drivers that I need to acquire for my independent dispatch services? Are these the types of questions you should be asking yourself as a business? Or I should say, are these not the types of questions you should be asking yourself as a business? Where I'm located in a certain geographical location in the country, if I have the understanding, or if I come into the understanding that three major equipment types run the industry in the sense that I can make money easily or more easily from those three types of equipment types, which one of those three are in my area, or which one of those three run through my area more than the other two? Or do they all run through my area at the same time? And which one of those three equipment types do I target as a beginner dispatcher? Okay. Hey, Chaucer, have a good night. Chaucer, hey, do you have any input before you go?
Actually, I don't have a lot of input tonight except for I am starting a new cold calling class in March 25th to April 15th. So I will start talking to you more about that in detail. But that's all I have to share for tonight. I do cold calling workshop sessions. There's some students in here tonight that are in my workshop right now. This Friday will be our last workshop, and it's been very interesting with them. When they first started the workshop, they were a little mm, apprehensive when it came to calling the carriers, but I'm sure they will agree that now they're comfortable with calling the carriers. They have a better idea of what to say. They have a better idea of how to steer the conversation. And today I actually gave them a real life experience situation. They called brokers today and they got low detail information. So they both were nervous, but they did excellent. They did excellent. And I did that because in my workshop, from speaking to so many different green dispatchers, um, their biggest issue is getting on the phone and talking about something that they've never actually done before, right? Because we get all this knowledge, but talking about it on the phone with the carrier sometimes is intimidating. So I gave them that experience today really to just help build their confidence when they're on the phone with the carrier trying to solicit their service. So they did excellent. They did good today. Kudos to both of them. But that's what my cold calling workshop is about. It's about getting on the phone and trying to find carriers and helping you grow your business, and also working on different techniques when we're on the phone with the carriers.
Very good. Very good. And then you see, I got my screen sharing your cold calling workshop right here. You're going to update me with the new one so I can post it on the back office for others to see it.
That's correct.
Okay. So which brokers were called? Like, were they the TQLs? Which real brokers did you call and have them talk to? If can you disclose that or no?
I am not going to give the brokers names. I
Name.
can talk about the experience though. We
Okay.
can talk
Okay.
about the experience, or we can let them talk about the experience.
Are they on here?
Sherwood and Miss Sylvia, are you in here tonight?
They are. They are. I see both names. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yes, hello.
Okay. So Sherwood, let's start with you. Well, let's start. No, ladies first. Let's start with Miss Sylvia. Miss Sylvia, if she's still, I see her image, but I'm not.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? So I understand you and Mr. Sherwood called some brokers recently.
Yeah.
So you don't have to disclose the broker's name, but how was the experience?
It was good. It was a good experience. It was nervous in at first. But I think we did a great job. And I think with the cold calling that helped as well to be able to take the next step.
Okay,
Just
so when you first started the cold call, the idea for you was to extract some details of a particular load that you saw on the load board just to make sure that you give that information to your carrier so that they can decide if they want to take that load?
right. We went over what the price of it was, where they were going from state to state, how many miles. I'm trying to remember everything.
What
And
the commodity was.
all those things.
Right. Okay.
And we had all that, and then when we called the broker, we had all the information we need. But before we did that, we had to go back and I don't know why I keep forgetting the name. The people that paid, the lady that came on for, I'm trying to think of the name.
Oh, the factoring company.
Right. So we had to see if they had a factory company and what their later, if they had an A, B, C, anything lower than that, then we wouldn't use them. We would just go to the next.
Okay.
The next, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherwood, your experience.
My experience was positive as well. I really did learn. Oh,
okay. So pretty much the same. So the purpose was to call the broker on a load that you found for a carrier to see if you can book that load for the carrier, and you're trying to get as much detail because I'm assuming sometimes on load. Well, I don't want to assume that I've done this several times, but a lot of times on the load boards, not all the detailed information shows in the posting of that load. So you would have to ask the broker certain things so that you can get clarity to share with your carrier, because your carrier needs to know that information in order to decide if in fact they want to take that load or not, right? So
Right.
these are some of the things that you probably ask the broker to kind of like, can you tell me about the commodity, or can you tell me about the details of the load? What's the instructions? What's going on with the load? What are the requirements? Things of that nature.
Yes, and not just that. We also had the experience as well of what it's like to run into a AI broker, or a AI that the broker has set up, like an AI virtual assistant, because I had tried to ask it for the details on the commodity, but it just refused to give it to me. But it did sound like an actual person.
Right, right, yep. So you ask them what's the cargo, what's the commodity? You ask it what am I transporting? You ask them several ways and it still couldn't tell you.
I tried to, and it didn't work. Right.
Yeah, so that's how you tell it wasn't a real person, right? Yeah. Which is
Right.
right. I don't like that's so AI technology is good to a fault, to a point. That right there, when I'm trying to book a load for my carrier, I'd rather talk to someone who can answer the question, not AI technology, because I want to have a conversation to make sure I clearly understand. AI explaining based on what they're programmed and algorithmized to do, right? So um, that could be a fault. But for the most part, what was the experience for you? Were you okay? Were you a little nervous? Did you break the ice? Was everything good?
I was nervous. I wouldn't exactly say break the ice because the AI didn't exactly want to talk, but it was definitely a wonderful first experience.
Okay. All right. Well, let me give you guys a jam real quick. Chas, I don't know if Chas is still on here or not. I think she may have left. Okay. I think she left. But so let me show you that I still have it. Let's see if there's any brokers available right now, like literally right now. And I will call a broker. Is that okay? You guys good with that? You want to hear how uh I used to, well, still sometimes do. Let me open up.
Sure.
All right, let's see. I'm in Virginia, so Norfolk, and I'm going to use my guy's information. Anywhere, going anywhere, any date for a flatbed. I got a guy who has a flatbed, a friend of mine, and I'll just use his information just to what is this low boy? I don't want a low boy. I just want a flatbed. I don't want a low boy. A low boy is a version of a flatbed, but it is what it is, right? So yes, it is search. But mine is called the search directory. You have to have the But mine asked a good question. 123 low boy has a feature to help you find carriers. Yes, it's the search directory. Right here, search directory to help you find carriers. I'll open that up in another tab. And right there, you find carriers. But it used to be better where you just hit carriers and hit search, and it gives you a whole list of carriers all over the country. This one has gotten very specific. Barmani, find carriers and information relevant to your business needs. So you got to put in a company name and a location, right? So we'll put Virginia, but there's no company name. We gotta have a carrier's name, right, to find them, to get data, right? So, but the old version was better. I bought eCarrier Check so I don't need eCarrier Check. I do it. Keep eCarrier Check. That is one of the best resources to have. Okay. All right, so here's flatbeds. Let's go ahead and look at the load board. Let me give you a live demo right now. So I used to move at a fast pace. I don't want to move too fast. I just want to Norfolk to, and that's for the 12th, which is tomorrow. Let's see if best specialized. So here's the details of the load, right? Best specialized logistics. Okay, the load is available. It's going to Kentucky from Norfolk, which is 511 miles. It's paying 12.13. It's 237 a mile. And I'm just going to do some generic stuff real quick just to see. So see what the note says. 40,000 pounds, 48-foot flatbed, a truckload flatbed. Doesn't say anything about tarps, though. So I'm going to ask certain questions. So let's see if they pick up the phone. All right, let me call them. You guys see on the screen the number and everything? Right?
Yes.
All right, so I don't want to embarrass the broker, but I'm just going to call. I'll be good tonight. Let's say that. I'll be a good guy tonight. So, because I used to terrorize these brokers back in the day because they used to get on my nerves. But I have I have evolved into a more humble person. I'll keep it like that. I'll say it like that. So, and thank my wife for that, guys. Really, thank her because you ever heard that expression yin and yang? I don't know which one was bad, but I'm the bad one of the yin and yang. So, all right. So I'm calling them.
Calling Best Specialized. You have reached our after hours line. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time.
Okay, it's after
To reach
hours.
the logistics department, please press 2. For fleet dispatch,
It's after hours, so I may not get a person. Let's see. There was no okay, it's still going, still going. It's after hours. So it's probably a bad time. I should have did this earlier, like 6 o'clock when we first got started. Usually after a certain time, brokers have shut down.
I'm sorry, but the person you
But the time zone, if I called the broker in California, of course it's 4:17. So they probably would have picked up because it's right before closing. But if they would have picked up, say that, I would have asked questions like, okay, looking at this load from Best Logistics Dispatch. Yeah, this Best Logistics, how can I help you? Right? Looking at this load from coming out of Norfolk, coming out of VA, going to Kentucky. Is that load still available? It says it is, but I just want to make sure it hasn't been covered yet, right? Speaking legal, not legalese, but logisticese, all right? The terms, the jargon, right? Is that load still available? Yeah, 1 second. Let me check real quick. What's your MC? They do that all the time. They're doing that because they want to see if you are already in their system as an approved carrier. That's all. They're not trying to be malicious or anything like that. They want to see if you're in their system as an approved carrier, whether you're set up with them or not. It saves them time for having to send you the onboarding packet. They'll just negotiate the rate and send you a rate con, right? It saves some time. So, okay. Well, in the meantime, yeah, here's my MC, gave it to him. Turns out I'm in their system. Let's say I'm in their system, right? Um, can you give me some detail? This is me again. Can you give me some details about the load? I see it's flatbed, 40,000 pounds, 48 foot. I have a 53-foot skateboard, which is bigger than 48, so I'm sure that'll be helpful. Yeah, that's fine. What's the commodity? What am I hauling? I asked that because it's not on the load. It's not in the notes. Doesn't say what it is. I see its quantity is one. It's a straight through. It's one pick, one drop. That's what it says, quantity, one, right? No extra stops, right? So it's a straight through, one and one. Okay. Um, does the load need to be tarped or any special instructions, chains, binders, dunnage, anything like that? So as a dispatcher, you would need to know the type of extras that's for a specific equipment type. You would need to know the type of extras about that. Yes, Renee, ask your question.
You were talking about the creating of a business like the LLC.
Yes.
Like I check on the back office where you say apply for like something like that. It show like 249 something like prim the various packages. So I'm asking that if the package like the 249 package that they say it comprises of all the package inside like that. So if let me say if I apply for that package for 249, am I going to say apply for an how you call EIR employment number or whatsoever? All the package included. Am I going to apply for them again or?
No. So
So
let me take you off mute. Let me take you off mute because of the echo here. So when you apply for the EIN through the irs.gov, that is a free service. You're not paying for anything, right? So when you register your business in your state, Portland, Oregon, you're also going to register for a EIN number or apply for an EIN number right here, the irs.gov's website, right? This is after you've done everything else. Your formation of your company, the name, registering the business, applying for the EIN number comes after that because in order to get an EIN number, the government needs to see that you have created a company first. So all those other things have to be in place prior to you going after your uh, EIN number. As you see in the listing here, it comes later on in the line, like number 8 or where is it at? Right here, number 4, right? You have to register your business first before you get an EIN number. But that's free. See right here? Apply online through IRS. Free. Free. Okay. And you go to the irs.gov website and you apply for your EIN number. Specifically, you can either log into it or you can be able to create your account, or somewhere on here it should have where you can apply for your EIN number. File, how to file, right here. So under file, over where it says popular, says apply for an employer identification number, EIN. You click that and it takes you to this page here, get an employer identification number, and you go from here, okay? Right there, that button, apply for EIN number. And then you go through the steps. This is a free process. You just gotta, and then begin application now. I'm not gonna do it, but you just click that and you go from there, okay? That is free. The irs.gov's website. Of course, they're gonna offer a free service because they're gonna tax you like hell on the back end. The federal government. You start a company, they're going to get their money on the back end exponentially, right? Federal income tax is huge in this country, right? So, but yes, so create your company. Let's go back to number 1. Create your company, your business name, legal structure, register with your state. So you've done those steps, and then apply for your EIN number, because in the application for your EIN number, it's going to ask you the name of your business. It's going to, right here. I'm gonna show you that way you can see it. It's going to say right here. I just started the application process for an EIN. It's going to ask you, what's your legal structure? Are you a sole proprietorship, LLC, yada yada yada, right? So you would have to have done all of that first prior to coming here, because you can't answer those questions and get an EIN number without doing those other things. That's a certain order right there now, right? You have to so let's say we did LLC, boom, right? And it's going to confirm it. How many members? Let's say 1. You're a single member LLC. Select the state. Let's say Oregon. Let's do it. Oregon. I'm literally doing it for your state, but I'm only doing it for a certain process, but that you can see and remember. You can go back and watch this video and see, right? Single. Why is a single member LLC requesting an EIN? Started a new business. just for the heck of it, right? Continue. And then now it's going to ask for information I can't put. I don't know your social. I don't, first, I don't know your social security number. So you would have to put that there. You would have to put your address, any additional details, review and submit, and then EIN. They'll assign you, once they get all this, number 5, they're going to assign you a random 9-digit EIN number, 2-7. That's 9. 2 digits dash 7 digits. Like for mine, it's 85-228-9290 for the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, right? And then yours will be whatever they spit out. Okay, and that's it. 5 minutes. That's the process. Okay, painless, right? So, but you have to have done the other things before you can tell the federal government you are a business. You have to decide the structure, S Corp, LLC, whatever, sole proprietor, name of the business, and register it in your state before you get to the EIN, IRS.gov phase. And then after you do that, then you can go to a bank and open up a business bank account, because now you have all the documentation that you need to open your business bank account. Okay. And again, ground zero. This is ground zero. Before you even decide to get any formal training or understand how to dispatch, where to send truckers and what type of trucks, you want to have your business behind you in place, everything set up. You want to have your foundation established. Okay? And that's what this is. You want to have your foundation established. Okay? All right, guys. Any final questions? This year I'm trying to keep it to an hour and a half instead of 2 hours. But Renee, type a 1 in the chat or anything, because your sound was muffled. But did that help you? How I just explained it to you and showed you the IRS.gov's website? And go back and review the video, and of course, email, text me. Okay, good, very good, very good. So the order, let's one more time, because I like to bring home the point, right? The order before we close tonight, let's open up the whiteboard as an illustration, right? What's the order of ground zero, the forming of the business? What's number 1? Anybody? What's number 1? As a review. Legal structure. How are you going to form the business? What structure? Is it going to be a sole proprietor? Is it going to be an LLC? Is it going to be an S Corp or whatever, right? What's number 2? You have to register. Well, legal structure and name. You want to name it too, right? Then you register with state, your domicile residence, the state that you live in, the state that you're going to be doing business in. Just because you're doing business in that state does not mean you cannot dispatch for other carriers in other states. You're just establishing a business in a particular state. That does not stop you from dispatching for truck drivers who live in other states in the union, in the country. I had somebody ask me that question. Well, am I only going to be able to dispatch for truck drivers in Oregon? No, you can dispatch all over. Like I'm in Virginia. I used to dispatch people way out in California, Washington State, down in Miami, all over. And you're just registered where you live, but you can do, because you have a federal ID number that covers the country. You see? So keep that in mind. You can dispatch for truck drivers all over. You're just registering and letting the government know and your state know that you are in business, and here's where you live, that you can receive. Okay? And then number 3 is apply for your EIN, right? Your employer identification number, right? Which is the IRS.gov website. And then number 4, open business, I'll say account, not necessarily bank account because it could be a credit union, but open business account. Okay? So those are the 4 basic ones. Now you can get detailed and granular with that, but those are the basic ones. Establish your structure and name, your LLC or sole proprietor, whatever you want to call yourself, and name it. Make sure your name reflects future progression, if you will. If you're going to pivot or scale to another, like I say, a trucking company or a brokerage or away from dispatching, make sure your name, like, remember I said the word logistics in the name. If you're only going to be doing dispatch service for the life of your business, then you can have something like dispatch in the name. That's fine. But if you plan on transitioning to broker or truck driving company, then consider a different name such as logistics. All right, that's all I'm saying. That's my advice. Okay. That's number 1. And then number 2, you got to register with your state. Secretary of State, go to and use AI technology. Go to ChatGPT like we did. Go to ChatGPT, look that up, go from there. And then apply for your EIN, your employer identification number. This is on the government side, irs.gov. Let the government know that you are, show them who you are so that they can issue you an identifying number for tax purposes. Okay? And then open up your business account, whether it's a bank or a credit union. Okay? All right, we got that, guys? Kind of a review, but hopefully some people are following that. Code word.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Good. Any final questions? Hey, Shamika, what in the world? I just missed. How did I miss you? Shamika McKnight. How are you? I don't think she can hear me. Can you hear me, Shamika McKnight? Long time. How you been? Any final questions? Barmani, what's up, man? Ask your question, Barmani. Go ahead. I didn't even see you in here. Where you at? Where you been hiding at, Barmani? There you go. Unmute yourself. You're trying to unmute. Well, if you can't unmute, type your dissertation in the chat box. Type your thesis paper in the chat box. I clicked the button for you to unmute yourself. You must got one of them Apple products. Okay. You gotta type your question, Barmani. I know you're trying to unmute, but if you can type your question, that'd be good. I try to click you to unmute. Can I use Renee Logistics as my? Yes, you can. Renee, yes. Renee, put an S at the end of it, not logistic, but logistics. Yes, but yes, to answer your question, Renee, can I Renee Logistics? Yes. Okay. But Monty, you may have to call me because I can't. Okay, so does anyone have experience using Indeed and other online resources to find carriers? Yes. So I guess you're putting it out there in general for everyone. But yeah, to find carriers, yeah, you can go to Indeed and go to owner operator groups, join those groups. So some of those groups, the administrator of those groups have certain rules and regulations before they let you in, especially if you're not an owner operator, because they're going to say, well, you're just trying to solicit as a dispatcher to get some of our owner operators. This is specifically for owner operators to network with each other. So that's on Indeed. Facebook owner operator groups, join those, YouTube channels, TikTok, or what's called X, um, social media handles. I paid for cold calling services. I think did you go overseas to Fiverr? The issue I have with Fiverr is the language disconnect, right? The barrier. You may have people who over there who speak um English, but it's hard to understand because of the language barrier, right? Right. So yeah, he from Jamaica. Blood clot, no, dispatcher. Blood clot. You see what I'm saying? So you never know. But um, yeah, you might get that. But so how was the experience with the Jamaican Fiverr cold call? Can you imagine someone from Jamaica calling for you to try to get a carrier in America and a truck driver hears them, right? And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just being realistic, right? If I'm a truck driver and I get a tone that's because Jamaicans on the phone, they're very aggressive. Their tone is very deep and very aggressive, right? So as a truck driver, you're not trying to, hear that, right? You probably hang up instantly. You want a pleasant conversation, someone who's going to communicate with you and try to pique your interest for your services. So, but give him a shot, Barmani. If you see that they have good reviews from other buyers, then give him a shot. Or if you are able to talk to those other buyers, see what it is about his service that was so good. And where was he able to get carriers for them? Okay? And that's the key. Fiverr does not let you talk to other buyers. Okay, well, so now you're taking a risk, right? You got good reviews from other buyers, but you can't talk to them to verify that. I don't want to say that's a red flag for me, but that's a red flag for me, right? So just be careful with dealing with those types of services. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I used Fiverr years ago for digital marketing, and it did a good job. So I can't say anything bad about that service for the person. And she was from Indonesia, but she spoke very eloquently and she was very respectful, and we hit it off pretty good, right? And she did. I gave her my scope of work because I did it professionally. My list of requirements. It's called a scope of work, and she followed through everything thoroughly. And it was a one-page scope of work, SOW, scope of work, right? Scope of work. So I'll put that in the chat. When you're dealing with professional people, you want to tell them, if you're paying for a service, you want to tell them what type of work you want for what you paid for. That's called a scope of work. Okay? So, all right, guys. We good? Any other questions? This video will be called Ground Zero because it's showing for those who are just getting started how to start in it. And it's not hard. It's just actually getting started. Just get started. The hard part is starting. Once you start, now you're going. You're picking up what's called momentum, and you're moving, getting your business together, getting your business bank account, getting your documents in order. Now you're moving to in the lane of trying to get a carrier, understanding how to talk to the brokers. You're building up momentum, right? But the hard part in anything is to get started. That's the hard part, right? So, okay, great, guys. I appreciate you very much. As always, my wife says hello. I want to get in trouble. I got to make sure I mention that. Tasha says hi. I hate sleeping on the couch. It hurts my back. So I gotta make sure I mention that. But yeah, and as always, for some reason LaDonna, she comes in, but then it kicks her out for something. I gotta talk to her about that, what's going on. But she's my moderator, so she keeps track of everything. But I will put my real phone number that I've had for 6 years in here and my email so that you can get, as always, a hold of me. But at this point, if you don't know my number and my email, I don't know what planet you're from because I give it all the time, right? Everyone should be able to know that. Plus, it's plastered all over the internet as far as the website and all this other stuff. So, um, nothing to hide, guys, right? So, very transparent and helping you guys succeed, right? That's my job. So,
Hi, Miss Charles, and thanks, Charles.
all right. Who was that? Was that Barmani? No, it was somebody else.
That was me, Sherwood.
Okay. All right. All right. So our next class, well, you know what? I may still have it. You guys tell me. Saturday is Valentine's Day. Our class is Saturday. It's 12 to 2, but you tell me because you guys might be busy with your spouses or loved ones. So you tell me if you guys want to do some training on Valentine's Day. So type a 1 in the chat, yes, 2 in the chat, no. I won't be offended either way. Just let me know. So 1 yes, 2 no. 1 is yes, 2 is no. Let me make sure that that's 1 equals yes, 2 equals. I'm gonna say 2 equals yes, 2 equals no. Okay, so everybody's saying 1. Okay, so 1 it is then. So there's no point even continuing. The ones win. So I will see you Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on this YouTube channel. I'm not YouTube channel, on this Zoom channel. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right.
Thanks,
Good night.
bye.
All right.